My brain just like shut down for a second. It's November 28th. And we're here with social media and business.
It's not
October 28th.
It's not November.
Is it? Oh my gosh, it's not. It's October.
It's the day after, Krista. -1 days remain.
We're still here, but we shot this before, so maybe we're not. This might be the last.
I hope the comments are great on this one.
Tell
us what it's like from the future.
Well, assuming we are all still here, and society progresses in the U.S., Google has a problem on its hand. Now, we talked in the last episode about the lawsuit finally landing. We all knew it was coming. We didn't know when. It's here now, and in it were some details,
complaints,
about why the government is going after Google. This is one of the big ones.
Google locks in search monopoly with $1 billion to carriers to keep their place. Now, this talks about Google and Apple a lot less than the antitrust lawsuit. Although the antitrust lawsuit does talk about Google and carriers and Apple a little less specifically. But this article is much more specific. They're saying, hey, Google and Apple are working together to suppress literally everybody else. I don't think that argument is as good as the EU's argument. The EU's argument was Google is suppressing possibly competing search engines because possibly competing search engines could never afford to pay what Google or Microsoft could pay. Like DuckDuckGo could never afford to pay carriers to be the #1 search engine, which, if consumers are making an informed decision, they probably would choose DuckDuckGo over one of the commercial search engines. Probably. Maybe.
I don't really know any other alternatives other than DuckDuckGo. That's what I use, but...
Yahoo.
Bing.
Yeah. Bing,
Ask Jeeves. Alta Vista.
That's not still around.
Is that... No, Ask.com is still around. They got rid of the butler, I think.
Oh, okay. All right, Krista, I'm rearranging the next two stories. Just heads up on that.
Oh, no.
One-tab users... Actually, it won't... it will affect you.
You've already made the one-tab,
The next two stories. Intel. So, Intel had an earnings report, and it actually looked pretty good. They beat on their metrics, but the investors didn't like it. And TechCrunch thinks they know why.
Here's why Intel stock just dropped 10% after reporting earnings. So, Intel hit guidance, but then their stuff really tanked. So, what? The Intel did exactly as well as they said they were going to do financially.
Well, they beat.
It was close, though. I was really close.
Hey, listen, a win's a win.
But it was like targeting $1.06, and they made like $1.11 earnings per share, blah, blah, blah. But if you peel back the linoleum, it's like, how did they do that? It doesn't look the best, according to TechCrunch.
Now, they said that the chips were fine, which, that's amazing, isn't it?
10 nanometer. Well, I mean, Intel can produce in volume.
I'm just saying the sales. The problem was their data. And I thought they were doing well because they'd expanded into the data services.
No.
But apparently the data services, no one's buying it.
Intel said that this is because of the global situation more than anything.
But there are a lot of other companies that are doing big data that are swimming in cash right now.
Well, government and enterprise spending was down 47%.
That makes sense because government's not working.
The question, though, is will the enterprise division of AMD be up some ridiculous percentage when they report their earnings in a week or two?
Now, Intel, maybe based on this feedback, seems to be looking to streamline. Amazingly enough, they're back to focusing on chips. Remember when they weren't going to focus on chips anymore?
That was 2018. They literally said, we're not going to focus on chips anymore in 2018 at Computex. I've got the video.
We're back to focusing on chips, and everything else we're going to sell off.
Intel agrees to sell storage unit to SK Hynix for $9 billion. This is their flash division, but this does not include storage like Optane. Optane is being retained by Intel, all that juicy, delicious intellectual property. Intel, in their shareholder call, said this makes sense for us. This is a win-win because this is a commodity division. Everybody makes flash. We're not doing anything particularly innovative when it comes to flash. And certainly if you've bought an Intel 660p or a 665p, I would definitely characterize that flash SSD as nothing special. Competent, but nothing special. And they're just saying, hey, this doesn't make sense for us to do. We need to refocus on being innovative.
Oh, that's true. They do. Good luck with that. Microsoft is getting on the bandwagon of going to space. Boy, SpaceX, they cannot make enough headlines. They love it. And Starlink is definitely capturing everyone's imagination. A lot of the big tech companies are like, oh, what could we do if we had satellite internet? Wow, that seems really cool. Microsoft has a plan.
Microsoft launches Azure Space Initiative, partners with SpaceX. Microsoft is using its Amazon as your competitor playbook to try to win over more satellite partners and customers. It's also launching an Azure in a shipping container offering called Azure Modular Data Center. This is an interesting thing because Amazon has already sort of launched Amazon at the edge. It's letting you run Amazon AWS services, but on your own hardware, actually on premise, but you can access it and use it through the Amazon AWS API, so your developers and stuff have an easier time. And that is actually really awesome. And so Microsoft is sort of one-upping them and saying, we'll ship not just running your own hardware, we'll ship you a shipping container so you don't even have to think about it.
Well, that's going to be great. I mean, we'll never live to see it, but someday when we're on the moon colonies and the Mars colonies, and it's just like, oh, this new product is selling out. Our website's going down. We can't handle the traffic. You get on the phone and they just drop pod you down. More servers to your location.
There aren't enough 3090s. Okay, we need to drop pod a 3090 manufacturing pod into the parking lot and just manufacture more right in the parking lot.
And Amazon, on the other hand, are doing quite well with their data services. And they have... they use those data services very well themselves, specifically to record everything that we do and use it to sell us products. God, they're good at that. But the question is, how much data is enough? And the answer is like money. There is no amount. You must have it all. There's never going to be enough. And they have a new program to suck even more data from you. Here is a pro tip. The value that they're offering here is really low. Really low.
Amazon launches a program to pay consumers for data on their non-Amazon purchases. You take 10 pictures of receipts that are not Amazon or Amazon-owned affiliates like Whole Foods, and they'll give you $10
per month. That's $120 a year for your privacy.
I can't wait, to be able to live off that. $10 a month? I'm going to get a second apartment.
You can also take surveys and stuff like that. And if you take the surveys, you get more rewards. They weren't specific on exactly what that is, but this all comes with an app. So you can sign up and you can take pictures of your receipts within the app. It's all very easy to do. It's very easy to give them all of your privacy.
Yeah.
So easy.
Well, I don't think that I would postulate that they probably have some of this receipt data already. They just don't have an easy way to relate it to you, the individual. But if they could get a couple of transactions from that, they can match it up on the other side, like from the Visa side, because we know Google's buying the data directly from Visa, and Google's also mining your inbox for this.
There's a lot of people who are going to do this.
Yeah,
it's going to be popular.
Well, I mean, a lot of loyalty programs and rewards programs already do this.
Yeah.
Amazon also has a new streaming service. Now, we've talked about this before, but it is out, and The Verge has actually used it. They have some words to say about it.
Hands-on with Amazon's Luna game streaming service. First look at Luna. It's actually good, except for when the connection is bad, and then it doesn't make any attempt to try to deal with your bad connection. You just have a bad experience. It also works on iOS devices, which is a first because Apple's insanity. But the way that Amazon got around that was to build a web application to do it that way. So you launch Safari basically and go to a web page, and then you can stream any game you want. Because remember, Apple doesn't want you to stream any game you want through an application because they want control. But it works fine in a web browser because Apple does things that make sense.
Minimum requirement is 10 megabit. According to The Verge, 10 megabit, it's mostly unplayable, especially on more complicated games. They felt that 40 was the sweet spot. 25 was maybe okay. I can totally see that. They also said that Metro, the newest Metro game, was horrible input lag for whatever reason. That was nearly unplayable. But Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night, they thought was nearly the same as playing it on a natively.
They did notice that the load times were way faster than console.
That makes sense.
About equivalent to PC.
Because it's probably running on a PC.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I signed up for it just to see if they'd give it to me. They didn't. It is $5.99 a month. I don't even know if because I'm already paying the Xbox one. Not the Xbox like this service, but the one where you just actually download the games. We'll see. I hope that's not the future of gaming.
Me too.
Yeah, I don't want that.
It is the future. Nothing is okay.
Do you remember, was it like 84, 83, when this crazy new television channel came out, and the only thing that they played all day long
I don't remember that, no.
was music videos?
I was not alive.
I remember MTV, and I remember people saying that MTV used to be that, but I think that was a little before my time.
Really? No.
We didn't have TV for a long time.
I remember my cousins were older than me. They were teenagers. I remember them just like watching MTV around the clock.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, this is a very religious group of not just one household. You know, it's like our family had a little compound, and there was a lot of conflict that erupted from the MTV.
Listen, we could only get like 2 broadcast channels, and that was it.
I remember my family was so like intensely religious and crazy and cult-like that we had a neighbor who worked for the cable company, and he came to my grandmother and he was like, "Hey, listen, I gave you the Disney Channel." She was like, "No, I don't want it." I was like, "No, it's not HBO. It's Disney." And she was like, "Get it out." Anyway, MTV was revolutionary. All music videos all day long. And now, 40 years later,
Apple launches Apple Music TV, a 24-hour music video live stream.
What? Like, is it just pop musicians? Because...
well, I'm sure it is the most popular music, which is probably just going to be rap and pop mostly, I would say. But no, it's curated, but they said they're going to have other programming maybe and debut new videos. Of course, I mean, you guys are familiar with PT Joji, right? You know?
Was that a thing you eat?
I squinted. I didn't say anything. You
PT Joji.
Pierogies?
What about Saint Jin?
What now?
Saint Jin? JHN?
Mm.
Saint Jin?
No. See, I think at this point, though, like, the artists I'm interested in seeing, like, I watch their music videos on, like, YouTube or something.
On
like,
demand?
why would I watch a live stream of just random music videos?
Well, you wouldn't, Krista, because you're old. You're not hip.
That's true.
You don't know where it's at.
I remember MTV having a lot of Beavis and Butthead.
That was later.
You didn't watch TRL, Total Request Live with Carson Daly?
That was also much later.
I watched that when I came home from school off the bus in 6th grade.
That was as they were transitioning into not playing music.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like probably 12 around that time.
We can make so much money by not playing music. We definitely have to do that.
We can produce these garbage TV shows for almost nothing, and people will watch them compulsively. Anyway, you can only watch that on Apple TV. So, congratulations if you're on Apple TV. Enjoy those videos. Tesla, it seems like...
We have a lot of Tesla stories this week, again.
This one's pretty bad.
We talked about this before, and a lot of people were like, no, it's not true, but...
Oh, yeah, we did get a lot of hate for this one because they were like, this isn't real, it's overblown, blah, blah, blah.
Well, it's from the horse's mouth this time.
Tesla admits a design flaw led to the vehicle rear bumper falling off when driving in puddles of water. So it wasn't really driving in puddles of water so much as water would accumulate in the bumper.
And debris.
And then that would, weigh down the bumper, and then it would slosh around, which would eventually rip itself off.
Especially if it was standing water and, that was down in it, because the drag would be immediate.
Yeah.
All that torque from those electric motors just...
just rips it right off.
Now, they went through... This was years ago. There's a guy with a YouTube channel who first revealed this, And it's great. You can go watch his videos. He's like, he'll go and he'll be like, oh yeah, I see what's happening. He'll like pull the bumper back and hit it with a hammer and just rocks start falling out of it.
There's a lot of hate in those comments too. A lot of hate.
And this is Electrek. This is the Tesla fan service. So you know this is the real thing. Now they got the tech bulletin and stuff here.
Now they were like, oh, you're still driving through standing water. And it's like, come on, guys. Come on.
They will fix this under warranty now. Some people were having a hard time getting them to honor that. But they have confirmed it only affects up till like a certain month in 2019. So at some point, they recognized it and fixed it.
They tried to keep it quiet.
Yeah, before they admitted it. So watch out for that. It's only the model. Was it Model 3?
Yeah.
Only the Model 3. So if you got a Model 3 manufactured before or during 2019, might want to look out for that. And maybe related, I don't know. This was done with no announcement, obviously. I mean, why would you announce this? This is terrible. But you can go and look at the website. The page that used to state this now just redirects, and there's no mention of this whatsoever.
Tesla cancels its ballsy no questions asked 7-day return policy. I don't know if this has been updated since then, but there have been a couple follow-ups on this. And finally, they said you can still return the car. You just have to go through customer service, and you got to give a reason.
So it's not no questions asked.
No.
When I bought my last car, it's amazing. So when you're buying a car and they don't know that you have any money, or they're not like super interested in selling you that specific car, they just they don't care at all. But when I'd been leasing cars from this car company for a while, so they knew that I was likely to buy it, but I was thinking about getting a different car, and I let them know that. And at that point, it was like, we will do anything for you. Do you want food? How about we could massage your feet? And the guy was like, look, just take it for the weekend. I was like, really? I bought the other one.
Aww.
I didn't take it for the weekend either. I bought it that day. I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to go for the poor decision.
Gotta go fast.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that reminds me. There's a car in the alley. You should look at that and see if there's anything we could do funny with it in a video. It's not mine, but I have it for a while.
What? Just
what
a
year
car?
is it?
It has 600 horsepower.
That's just so many questions.
Yeah.
So, speaking of Tesla and Elon Musk's side projects, one of them is getting some bad news.
Elon Musk's Las Vegas loop might only carry a fraction of the passengers that it promised. No, say it ain't so. An Elon Musk project that was overhyped.
The comments this whole week are going to be fantastic.
Yeah, it's going to be a bad week. Everyone's going to be in a bad mood because of the election, and then they're going to watch our news and be in a worse mood.
The algorithm isn't even going to show it to anybody.
So if you remember, the original Hyperloop plan were these shuttles. That has been scrapped. Now it's just Teslas in the tunnel. But beyond that, it turns out that there are, and this is even pre-pandemic, fire codes that maybe no one considered. Like, you can't queue up a bunch of people underground. That's a problem.
There's a lot of rules with that.
So they did the math. With the existing place that they have, there's no way they could move that number through them legally. Like, they literally can't do it legally. And because Las Vegas was a little bit skeptical of Mr. Musk, they built the contract to say that, okay, if you don't do what you say you're going to do, you owe us money.
Uh-oh.
Bad news.
Well, all they got to do is pop the end off the tunnels so that it's got a wire mesh covering instead of like being underground.
The whole tunnel just covered in bird shit.
No, the ends of the tunnel can be. I mean, the tunnel itself can be covered, but the ends of the tunnel, the platforms,
the waiting area.
Yeah.
So when it rains.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, just dig out a tunnel under the tunnel for the rainwater and pump it out. It'll be fine.
But I mean, like, if you're in a fire scenario, like, just because it's open to the sky doesn't mean you'd be able to get out easily.
Yeah, I don't know how that would work exactly. They mentioned something about like some emergency ladders that they had to install as well. So like if you get stuck in the tunnel, I guess no one thought about that.
Oh yeah, exits every so often. Yeah.
It's weird that I feel like we've kind of solved these problems with subways in the past. Like, did they not hire anybody who's worked on a system like that, like in New York?
Probably
like
not.
I don't know.
Japan, anywhere?
No.
And one of the things we always talk about, we can hate on Tesla all we want, but there is no competition. What was the Lucid? Was that the new one? Something like that. They have a very Tesla-like car that might be coming out.
Yeah.
But other than that, no one has what Tesla has for sure. They don't have the technology, and they have some electric cars from the American companies, but nothing that really set the world on fire until maybe now.
GM sells out a first year of electric Hummer production. The website banner is like, "Oh, pre-orders are full. This is a new electric Hummer for $100,000."
I couldn't figure out if this. They said the next version is $99,995. I don't know what this one is.
Oh, the least expensive configuration is $80.
But that's 2024.
Oh,
This one might be more.
wow.
Might not be less. It might be more. But anyway, whatever they're selling now, people are just eating it up. There's no picture.
I saw one of
Reuters.
the new Hummer advertisements, and they had like crab walking where it could like drive diagonally.
Because the wheels, there is no non-drive wheels. It's full four-wheel drive, and they all turn.
Yeah.
So,
I looked it up.
you know what? You know what I think is a great idea? Let's buy a $100,000 car and then take it out and drive it on rocks.
That's what the video's showing here on their website.
Wasn't the whole reason that like Jeep driving on rocks was popular is because you could get a crate of Jeeps for like $5,000?
Yeah, and it's well, they're not super cheap, but they're certainly not $100,000.
The quiet revolution starts now.
Well,
So metal.
I guess it is quiet. Although they're going to be cranking some music out of that thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Quibi? What do you think?
I always pronounced it Chibi.
I thought it was Quibi.
Quibi.
At least based on the advertisements I've seen.
Oh, have you actually heard it spoken?
Yeah, I think it's Quibi. I think.
It's
Well,
gone.
you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it's named.
Quibi is shutting down barely 6 months after going live. Streaming services designed for mobile users and struggle to resonate amid the global situation and a crowded marketplace. This was terrible.
Yeah, I saw an ads for this, as I mentioned, and I never understood what the use case was because it's just supposed to be like snippets of episodes, and it's like, why would I care about that? Why wouldn't I just want to watch the whole episode?
I've got the pitch for you. It's like, we're going to take all the worst things about TikTok and all the worst things about Netflix and combine it into a YouTube-like platform.
And that pitch, $2 billion in venture capital, which they burned through completely.
It turns out video hosting's expensive.
How much hardware, server-wise, for $50 million, you could easily build that infrastructure, right?
Yeah.
And then there's
You would have an asset.
part of the problem with their business model is they stole the software, and the lawsuits were breaking them up. Like, they didn't even spend the $2 billion to build the software; they stole it.
The startup story is old as time.
Yeah, and it kind of makes you wonder when you hear stories like this. It's like, what am I doing wrong? Someone gave these people $2 billion.
We're not
They
asking.
couldn't do anything.
We're not asking anybody for venture capital. That's what we're doing wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, web security is a big deal, and I gotta admit, Cloudflare, I don't know if we can trust them. Maybe we shouldn't, but they really are doing a lot of cool things in terms of privacy and security. If there's not some hidden agenda, I don't know, maybe there is, but on the surface, looks like they're doing some cool things.
Cloudflare wants to run your web browser in the cloud. Web-based threats can't affect your system or network if they're isolated in the cloud. So what they're talking about is literally running the application on a different machine and then just streaming the application back to you. Kind of like a game, except it's the web browser. And this is kind of smart for a lot of reasons because it means that the thing that your computer has to deal with is really just an image. And so that dramatically lowers the attack surface area. The browser isn't even running on your computer anymore.
But I think they do it a little different. It's not video. It's instructions on drawing the site.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's not HTML, right?
No.
It's the proprietary thing.
Yeah.
But it does render it similar.
Yeah.
It's just there's no way that anything bad could be there because any kind of scripting or whatever or anything is gone at that point.
Yeah.
It's literally just showing you things. The other services that they said they had trouble with forms and stuff like that, this apparently fixes that.
Neat. We should show people how to do this with Cloudflare, because you can totally do this with Cloudflare and X11 forwarding over SSH.
But it is Cloudflare.
I mean Linode.
Okay.
We should show people how to do that with Linode. DIY with Linode. We got Linode ads this week. Thanks, Linode.
Big news. Did you see Bitcoin? It was like
Yeah.
13K.
Yeah.
If you were wondering why, it's because of this.
PayPal to let you buy and sell cryptocurrencies. Sell has an asterisk there. Cryptocurrencies in the U.S. So really just you can take your existing cryptocurrency and convert it to PayPal, but PayPal's going to be a little weird and squirrely, not quite like Coinbase with the cryptocurrency side of it from what I read.
Well, they're going to charge you more. But the big draw here is you can take your PayPal debit card or online PayPal transactions and it can pull from your crypto and it will automatically convert. So you don't have to, it's like, oh, I want to buy some movie tickets. Let me go sell 0.00001 Bitcoins.
It charges you a lot to do that, though.
I think it only charges you when you buy and sell.
The crypto?
I think you can fund your account and then the conversions don't count against you. I'm not sure if that's true, though.
It made it sound like you were always going to get charged like 20 cents per transaction plus some percentage.
That would be insane. Because then if you're like at the store and you're like, oh, let me get a soda.
Yeah.
It's going to cost you an extra like 50 cents or 25 cents.
Yeah, which just seems crazy.
Convenient, though. I don't know. The crypto world seems to think it's going to be good. I'm happy to get that extra Bitcoin money.
It's not just Bitcoin. It's also some other cryptocurrencies.
Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin.
Well, did you notice that the list of cryptocurrencies that are okay is exactly the list that Bill Barr said was okay, which are the ones that don't really have privacy?
No Monero or Zcash.
So no untraceable cryptocurrency transactions through PayPal. Makes sense.
Let's think. You know, it's the election's over, but we probably don't have a winner yet.
We don't know.
I feel confident in projecting that. You know, we're recording this ahead of time. But let's think back to the previous election. Do you remember when Trump was saying, you know, we're going to make America great again. We're going to bring manufacturing back to the U.S.
And this Wisconsin win was one of the big ones.
This was one of the big ones. And the governor of Wisconsin, who is not the governor anymore, said, yes, I'm working hand in hand with the president or the, you know, soon to be president, and we're going to bring this amazing factory. And everybody was like, wow, Foxconn. That's weird that they're coming to the U.S. because
all those tax breaks.
I mean, they're the ones that had to put up the suicide nets because it's so bad in China. How are they ever going to make it work in the U.S.? Well, we might have the answer now.
Exclusive. Wisconsin report confirms that Foxconn's so-called LCD factory, it's just not real. The building may be better suited for demonstration purposes than as a viable commercial glass fabrication facility. So this is supposed to be LCD manufacturing, and it was supposed to be a Class 10 LCD manufacturing. This isn't any bigger than a Walmart. And so they were saying, oh, well, it's a Class 6 facility, which is not as good. It's not making as high-end panels. But even a Class 6 facility, that's nowhere near large enough. And when reached for comments, somebody from the governor's office said something along the lines of, well, it is going to be a Class 6 facility unlike anything the world has ever seen, so don't compare it to the size of other Class 6 facilities because it's going to be different than other Class 6 facilities in the world, which probably means that it's not going to employ 13,000 people in something the size of a Walmart.
Well, they also have the records of all the equipment that had been ordered for that location, and none of the equipment needed for LCD manufacturing is among the list.
Well, that's coming over from South Korea. We're cleaning out a place in South Korea. We're upgrading it. We're going to take the old equipment. We're going to bring that over to Wisconsin. It's like, no one believes this.
I like the pull quote in this article. Taxpayers fully performed their side of the agreement to date, while the recipients have not. That's just like, just get that tattooed on my chest.
They're not
so accurate.
They're not paying the subsidies based on this. They're holding them back. So that makes sense. If you didn't bring, what a cool building somebody's going to get for pennies on the dollar.
The Level 1 compound.
But think about this in terms of like all the internet infrastructure as well. Taxpayers fully performed their side of the agreement to date, while the recipients have not.
Probably a lot easier to get fiber in that neighborhood now.
They probably wired the entire town just to get them to shut up.
We have another story here about a new supercomputer. There's always this, game of like who can build the best supercomputer. I promise I don't do this every week. I make no attempt to specifically find his articles, but he makes his way in because he is such an amazing reporter.
Hewlett Packard Enterprise will build a $160 million supercomputer in Finland. Yes, it will be based on AMD's EPYC, and yes, it comes to us courtesy of Mr. Kyle Wiggers.
God.
What's the L stand for in his Twitter handle?
Love.
I'm looking it up. Oh, he doesn't say.
The man's a mystery.
L? Hang on, I'm clicking on his personal website. We're going deep, chat. He doesn't mention it here either, but he used to.
Give the man some privacy.
It seems wise.
Twitter feed. Kyle L. Wiggers.
Leave a wigger alone. Office work. There aren't many companies going back to the office, but the ones that are going back are finding an issue with people's natural urge to socialize. It seems like you can't just stamp that out of humanity. So what do?
Offices resort to censors in futile attempt to keep workers apart. Overcoming the human urge to mingle is almost impossible. Oh, that would be amazing. In the break room, put like the red alert clacks on from like Star Wars 5, and so it's like, oh, there's two people in the break room, and it's just like.
Well, they do.
I feel like this would be less of a problem in our office.
Yeah. They do point out that some of so cameras are in a lot of offices, so there is software now that you can get which uses the cameras to detect social distancing failures and then maybe sound an alarm. But also they have the wristbands. Remember the Amazon wristbands?
Oh, yeah.
So those have been repurposed for proximity. So if you get in proximity of another wristband, you both get a buzz.
How long before there's an HR incident, not pandemic related, and it's like, okay, Tom, you're gonna have to keep your distance from Sue. Just avoid Sue. It's like, and then both of them have to wear wristbands, and it's like, Tom, your wristband shows that you were in motion, and Sue was seated at her desk.
Both of your heart rates were very elevated in the bathroom.
Gonna have to take a couple of points off of your social profile. I'm sorry.
Well,
I need those points to take the bus. I'm sorry, Tom.
Speaking of points, you might have lost some, and you might have lost your channel if you were a Twitch streamer because of not anything that you did recently.
Not your channel, but all of the content on it.
No, with enough strikes, you lose the channel.
Well, it wasn't going to count them. That was the thing here.
If you agreed
to
their draconian, this is not our fault. But this goes back to 2017. Who even remembers 2017?
It was a simpler time.
Seems like a decade ago. Twitch DMCA Bloodbath trades copyright strikes for due process. So basically, the RIAA is stepping up things with Twitch again, and they're going after a lot of old saved videos because, everybody's watching 3-year-old streams. But Twitch, it was a little tone deaf in their email. They just said, we're going to give you the opportunity, a bunch of your stuff matched. If you want to delete all of your stuff, we won't count it against you. But if you challenge this, we will hold it against you.
And delete your channel.
So
you can choose between lose your channel
and everything is deleted.
Or don't sue.
Or don't sue and everything is deleted.
Except that you lose everything.
Yeah.
This was, of course, the Recording Industry Association of America. Everybody's favorite corporate entity.
There's a lot of other stuff, other tone deaf stuff this kicked off. There was a guy that was a director of a game studio that Microsoft. No, he wasn't. He is a Stadia creative director, but he is not responsible for Stadia.
Oh, okay.
He is responsible for some game company that Stadia absorbed. And he's like, hey, streamers ought to be paying a royalty to game companies anyway, because that's how copyright works. And he's not technically wrong, but at the same time, that's because copyright law is terrible, not because there's a legitimate interest there.
I'm sure that it doesn't benefit his game company at all to get all that free advertising.
Yeah, whether or not it diminishes the market would be one thing that the courts look at, but at the same time, I feel like that, if Twitch just gives people an opportunity to export their old stuff, and you could put it on Moscow File Hosting 123 or whatever Kim.com is doing now. It's like, you can see all my old VODs on Kim.com's thing. Then it would be fine. They just didn't give people a way to save their old content.
I don't know. Maybe for the VODs, but for the streaming itself, no one has been able to recreate the magic, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
But like Mixer.
Oh, it's terrible.
Oh, yeah.
But was it terrible, or was it just they couldn't?
Do you think part of the reason that Mixer shut down is because game publishing companies were looking at Microsoft as a juicy target, whereas Twitch feels like that it would be judgment proof?
Oh, that's Amazon, though.
Yeah, Twitch is owned by Amazon now, so like, if you really want to go after them, I mean, it's Jeff Bezos' money.
It's probably still isolated corporately, though. Like, it's probably still under its own LLC, even though it's owned. They can just liability bomb that and, detonate the company if it's really bad.
Well, I'm sure that's not the last we've heard of it, because it'll just keep happening.
Yeah.
We'll see. Krista, you still a Minecraft player?
Yeah, I like to play it. When my pandemic anxiety gets a little too high, fire up some Minecraft and just work on city.
Reading this, I realized I have a Minecraft account. I bought it back when it was like you just downloaded it.
Yeah, it was like that was like 2011, 2012 when it first.
And then
came
they
out.
made me get a Mojang account at some point. I think when we were playing it on our stream, I had to go through all that. And which one? Do you have a Mojang account, Krista?
So when I first got it, yeah, you could just download it from their website, and then they switched it to the Mojang account.
But you do have a Mojang account, not a Microsoft account.
Yeah.
Well, so you're going to be affected by this.
Minecraft will require a Microsoft account to play in 2021. And they just announced the Cave update for 2021.
Oh, the Cave update. What's that?
Cave update. They're updating like terrain generation and adding a bunch of new items and monsters, and it'll be really exciting. The whole game will change. It's not really, but I was actually kind of excited about it, and now it's like, ew, I have to have a Microsoft account.
I have noticed every 4 years or 3 years when I fire up Minecraft, I get curious about it. They add a bunch of stuff, even after the Microsoft thing.
Yeah, it gets updated like every few months. They just did a big Nether update.
Wow. Well, if you want the Nether update, get that Microsoft account. Enjoy that. Microsoft and Facebook playing the same game there. Moving on to social media, this is a tone-deaf thing to say if you are in this position, but is he wrong?
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
He's not.
Former Google CEO calls social networks amplifiers for idiots. U.S. regulation will come if industry doesn't get its act together. U.S. antitrust suit against Google is misplaced, Schmidt says. So, it's funny. If you forget about everything that he's saying directly and just read what he's saying and then remember Google Plus. Google Plus makes a lot more sense now why they did Google Plus the way that they did if you believe what he believes about social networks. Like the whole real name thing, for example, it's an amplifier for idiots. Real name policy makes a lot of that go away because...
Doesn't Facebook do that now?
Yeah, kind of.
You can't use a fake name on Facebook, right? No, I mean, some people do, I think.
No, you can't, because I used to have a fake one on there, and it was like, we don't think Moosenhofer is real.
I read somebody leaked an article from one of those law enforcement social media scraping companies about how to create a fake Facebook account to use for that and make it seem real. They had a step-by-step process to bypass all that stuff. So you
How
can
have we
do
kept
it.
our fake one? Because we have a fake one with a pretty obviously goofy name that we use for testing.
I think it's because that fake one has a developer account.
Oh.
And it's been
so
it has several apps.
Yeah.
And they're just like, okay, I see what's happening here.
Facebook's desperate to get more information about me because I have almost nothing on it, at all. And so it's like, where did you go to school? Where do you live? What do you do? Tell us. I get little pop-ups all the time.
Well, Krista, Facebook is looking to expand, and now you've talked about your neighbors some. I don't think you're all that friendly with them. They seem to be kind of just like some stoner college kids.
Yeah, they're fine, but they're definitely a lot younger and they like to party. So.
But when you move into your farm dream house, do you want to get to know all the other farms nearby?
It depends. I'm open to it. We trade stuff with our neighbors sometimes, but I'm not gonna go up to their door and be like, "Hey, buddy, just moved in.
You got a cup of sugar?"
Yeah, it's a little aggressively friendly for my taste. I'm someone who ran from the cheese counter. So.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Right. Someone put in my mailbox. They set up a next door for our neighborhood.
Really? Wow.
And I was like, come and join the next door.
No.
Yeah.
It's all passive aggressive posts about, you left your trash can out.
Shut your dog up. Oh, that dog. That dog barks from midnight to 4 a.m. every night. I don't know.
Wait, your neighbor's dog?
It's not like an immediate neighbor, but it's a dog barking. I mean, there's a field between me and them, but it's a dog barking. And I have my window open in these wonderful fall nights. Get the wood smoke coming in, and the dog barks. Anyway, Facebook wants to take over that part of social media as well.
Facebook is testing many social networks focused on you and your neighbors. Narrator, it went about as well as you would think that it would go.
The first post on there is going to be like, hey, everybody, welcome to the neighborhood. I love Trump.
It's going to be awkward.
What do you think the over-under is going to be for, the first nonsense story that we do on the Level 1 news that is something really terrible happening that resulted in stabbing or shooting?
This is also going to be people going to be like banging their neighbors, cheating on their spouses through this.
Oh, Wendell, you once said this, and I always thought it was just so wise. You said, I think that all of the murders in Eastern Kentucky are probably just over shared driveways, and now we have a new vector to take that murder to the next level.
It's true. It's so true.
We have a shared driveway, and although our neighbors are very nice people, I absolutely hate them.
I mean, we had a shared driveway in one house that we lived in for a while when I was growing up. And we blacktopped it. When we moved in, it was garbage can sized potholes and gravel, and it was bad. It was really bad. And it's we blacktopped it, and we did a bunch of stuff. And then the neighbor was like, hey, the culvert's kind of clogged up with trash. And it's that's your trash. You didn't put the trash in the thing. You just set it out.
It's their mail.
Yeah,
their name on it.
Yeah, it's just
well, even if it was just trash that blew in there and it wasn't anyone's, after your neighbor just blacktopped it and resurfaced it, as a courtesy, wouldn't you just go out there and pick it up because you didn't have to pay to get it re-blacktopped?
Yeah, it was you want to go halfsies on this? And they were like, no. And it's well, we're going to blacktop it anyway because it's really destroying our cars. And they're like, okay. And then it was oh, there's some trash. And it's that's not even our trash. I watched you dump the trash into the...
I have so mine's not a driveway. There's actually it has a road name. It's actually a road, but it's one lane, and it's only our 5 houses that are on it. And the people at the very end, it's dead end. It just goes to their house. They drive really fast on that road. And the old man at the front went and found an old 25 mile per hour speed limit sign. It's all beat up and bent. It's dude, that's not a real 25 mile per hour speed limit sign. I'm sure that's illegal. You can't just erect your own speed limit. They do drive like crazy though.
Sure, driveways, man. And now you have a new way to yell about it online with that Facebook thing.
Twitter. And our final story, another great one for the comments, and we can trigger Krista again. We talk about
I got baited.
The Biden scandal and the effort that they went to hide it and shut down all of the posts. Who could have predicted what happened when they did that?
The MIT Technology Review reports that Twitter's ban almost doubles attention for that story. And we still don't even understand what the story was about.
But we're going to get a lot of comments about it.
Yeah, we already got a lot of comments about it the other day.
I'm sure.
All right, what do we got Friday?
Well, Krista's favorite combination on Friday is robot and nonsense.
I do love nonsense. Wait, do we not? We've already done security.
Yeah.
Wow, so it's just fun stuff on Friday.
Just fun stuff on Friday. Which the world needs, because probably on Friday is when we'll get the results of the election.
Well, it's like we said in the first episode. You get home from work, you take a shower, you don your dark clothing and your gas mask, and it's like, all right, let's go.
While you are filling your Molotovs and filling up your socks with ball bearings, listen to this. All right, Krista, give us a God Bless America goodbye.
No, that's not an eagle, is it? That's more like a crow.
She was...
It should just be like a screech.
She was there Tuesday, and she was, like, given really low key. The Meyer lady that you just emulated? Yeah.
That one, yeah. I was like, the Meyer lady.
That's her sound, and she wasn't doing this. She was, like, it's like she's out of energy. I don't know. Maybe 2020 has ground her down.
That's sad, because I always looked forward to her. Welcome!
Yeah. All right. We'll see you Friday, maybe.
I hope so. If not, it's been a good run. We'll see you later.
Yeah, this might be the last episode coming up.
And good luck in November.
Bye!